All right. Well, my name is Danielle, and today we are going to be talking about stacked profits. Why? Because, and I'm going to get into this story in detail, but it just goes back to the fact that we are options traders. And as options traders, we have this unique ability to be able to leverage what we're doing. And within that, we're really able to leverage the variety of setups that we get into, as well as the profits that we can make. And so over the course of my trading career, I've learned how to really maximize that. And that is what we're going to be talking about tonight. And that is why we call it stacked profits. So let's talk about you. I know there's going to be quite a variety of people here tonight. I want to know why you're here, what you're hoping to learn, and what I can help you achieve. Because at the end of the day, success is really achieved and maintained by those who keep trying. But I have to know what it is that you're wanting to focus on so that we can get to that end point. So go ahead and type it in the chat because I want to know what you are hoping to learn. To get rich, I like that answer. Steady income, swing trading, achieve consistency and profitability, improve profits. Oh man, lots of responses. Okay, stacked butterfly options. You want to see the puppy cam. To be Warren Buffett, why settle? I think that's my favorite one. You need to get stacked profits. That's right. Filter out uncertainty. Well, here is a little bit about what we are going to be talking about tonight. So really what this is about how to elevate the trading that you're doing and how to actually get there. We want to focus on how to master a strategy and how to master the method in which you leverage your gains. So what I'm going to show you is I'm going to show you a demonstration for how I do it and how you can do it as well. So I do want to know, this always helps me when I'm focusing on a webinar or focusing on a class. I want to know how you are getting, how did you get here? How did you get here? Are you in foundation with me? Are you in the newsletter? I love the weekly videos that I'm able to make in foundation. And, the newsletter is something new that we did this year. And I can tell you that I absolutely love writing the newsletter. So YouTube free video, Facebook, Options Gold, you're in the gold room, newsletter, Options Gold. Excellent. Well, of course, I love being in the trading room, and I do that pretty much every day. Participation at stock charts, excellent. You're in foundation, but not have been able to study a lot. Small account mastery. Well, and many of you may also know me from previous classes that you've taken with me. Ready Aim Freedom, Futures Freedom, Pillars of Options, and Finding Phoenix. But also, of course, I'm sure there are many people in here that are brand new. But I wanted to let you know, do not be afraid. Do not be worried. Because guess what? I was once brand new as well. But we're on this crazy journey together. So for those of you who may be new, let me go ahead and introduce myself. My name's Danielle, and I'm a market analyst, trader, and expert commentator. You may have seen me in any of the following locations that we just talked about. But what I am is primarily a directional swing trader, and I love trading options, and I love leveraging my options account to do that. One of the trades that I'm sure you heard about throughout the newsletter and the emails was one of my favorite trades, which was my trade on Amazon. So this is pretty crazy. This 1,200% win. That's one of the things when I talk to people about trading options and they say, oh, that sounds complicated. Well, Yes, it is, but you can learn it. And a piece of that is the fact that this type of trading is possible. So within this 1,200% win, this is a very, very cheap trade, $1.34 per contract, and sold it for over $13. So that was a pretty awesome trade. And you know, I have to go back in time and tell you, because if you told me that I could make trades like that years ago, I wouldn't have believed you. And it goes back to Henry, actually. Who's all familiar with Henry? I do love to teach as well. Absolutely. So this was actually back in 2017. And, you know, we have a very similar methodology, mainly because Henry is one of my prime mentors. And it's so funny to look at an Amazon chart back at $950. So it was summer of 2017, and Henry and I were trading this daily squeeze on Amazon. And this move went from $950 up to $1050, actually a little bit higher even. And we're sitting there, you know, after we close the positions, high five trade type. Oh man, that move was awesome. It was great. And I asked him, Henry, what'd you make on that trade? And of course, you know, he's not really going to tell me. He's like, oh, you know, I did pretty good. I had some Delta 70s and some butterflies. And I look at that and I say, oh my gosh, that was a killer trade. And I look at what I made on that trade, and I was honestly embarrassed to even tell him. It's like, hey, you know, I had a 1-to-1 risk reward put credit spread. And yes, my trade went to 80% of max profit, which sounds great. But this was a 100-point move in Amazon, something that could make your entire year. And, you know, he was honest with me and he said, why are you doing that? You know how to recognize the setup. You know how to trade the squeeze. Why are you messing with only 1-to-1 risk reward put credit spreads? You can do better than that. So here's a picture of, these are our two best friends, my amazing husband right here, Henry, and his beautiful wife, Mandy. And Henry says to me, I mean, come on, you can do better than that. And naturally, my excuses started coming out. And I thought, well, I can't trade Delta 70s like you can. I mean, I have a small account. Butterflies? What? That sounds complicated. Well, I don't really know. I've been selling these put credit spreads for so long. Why should I do something different? And of course, the ultimate piece of that was me feeling like that's something that you can do, but I'm not really capable of doing that. And of course, what he responded with was, no, you can do this. You can do it. All you need is a specific method and specific rule set, and you can learn how to maximize these amazing setups. And that, my friends, is how I started to learn how to stack profits. So, you know, I go back and I think about where I started and how I started, and I remember starting with nothing. This part right here in the middle where you're struggling, that's hard, right? I mean, who can relate to that, right? This is a very difficult piece. But once you get up here in your trading and you really learn success and how to maximize what you do, that is what I'm teaching tonight. So what does stacked profits mean? What does that mean to you? And here's a little bit about what it means to me. So first of all, it's about taking what you have and making more of it, okay? It can mean stacking your option strategies, stacking your butterflies, primarily risking 1 to make 4, but what it is it's elevating what you're already doing and mastering your trading. Who's familiar with the trader's journey? Has anyone been on this emotional roller coaster before? Anyone? Anyone? Oh yeah, right? Still there. Yep, all the time. always. So if I go back in time and I think about it and I say, I remember the very beginning when I said trading, what? And then when I realized what you could do with trading, I thought, wow, I'm going to make millions. I'm going to be rich. Oh, no, wait, that's harder than I thought. Ooh, okay, I learned some more strategies, back to genius. And then all of a sudden it gets worse. But by the way, this is right when a lot of people quit. But this is the point where you're almost at your key area of success. And then what we're going for right here is where you get past those bumps in the road and you're really able to maximize what you're doing. So within that, I like to think about my trading journey and how I've been able to elevate that, over a course of time. You know, most people get into options trading by holding stock. And typically, a nice next step is going to be income-based trading, where it doesn't really matter which direction the stock is going, but you're still able to make money within the options market. The next piece of that is learning to read the whispers. Which direction is it going? And being able to leverage that with calls and puts. But you know what the best part is? The best part is right around here. This is when you can master the when and the why, getting good at leveraging yourself with options. And it's at that point that you can really learn how to stack your profits. So, like I said before, you know, everybody starts somewhere, and I started with nothing. What success is knowing how to maximize what you have, and that's what we're doing tonight. Not only can I do it, but I can show you how to do it too. So how many people are familiar with trading long calls and puts? Obviously, I love trading long calls and puts, primarily long calls, because the market's been going up for, you know, the last 10 years. And of course, I love them. They have a great potential for profit. They can be used for your account growth when you do it correctly, but they also have some negatives, right? So obviously, you have to choose the right strike, the right expiration date. But I think that the most difficult part about them, especially for people who are starting out, is that they can really put you on a roller coaster ride, especially with all of the market volatility that we've seen throughout the course of the past year. When I think about holding long calls, especially on stocks like Netflix, Amazon, Google, I mean, there's just no way. Number one, they're incredibly expensive. Number two, they're incredibly volatile. And I will point out that on long calls, you know, I typically target between 25% to 100% of the debit, with the average being about 50% profit, okay? And so, yes, exactly. That's your main way of trading, long calls and puts almost exclusively. And you know what? I was that way too. I remember exactly that. And trading credit spreads, long calls and puts. But I'm now to this point where not only can I do that, but I can also throw on these other strategies when it's really necessary. And that is how I'm able to stack my profits. So for example, this is a cyber trade that we did in the trading room. This one had a lot of volatility. There were multiple times where I thought it wasn't going to work out, but it was a very low price trade for $2.24 per contract, which honestly, that helps you sit through the volatility. And what ended up happening was I was able to get almost a triple on this trade. So purchasing for $2.24, I got out of one at around $5. It traded all the way up to $6.15. And that's because it hit my stacked profits zone. So with a trade like this, I mean, 275%, not only was it far cheaper than what a long call would have cost, but I was able to sit through the volatility of the way that this ticker traded because of the strategy that I was using. Butterflies have some positives and they have some negatives, right? Just like any other strategy. So first of all, they're typically the cheapest way to be long. It's also a debit. So you can define your risk by the debit that you're willing to pay. And holding through pullbacks is a lot easier. I think the key point here is that it has an excellent risk to reward ratio. And typically you have about a 1 to a 4 risk reward ratio. Now, I'm never going to tell you that everything is perfect and amazing. No, there are negatives. What are the negatives? Well, it is the cheapest way, but you do have to learn how to pick your strikes and your expiration date the correct way to make money. Being a debit, you have the chance of losing the debit that you paid. You make less money than you do with calls or puts unless you get it to pin, but that also, it depends. What do you want? Are you looking at a percentage basis? Or are you looking at a dollar amount? Are you looking at number of contracts? So typically with the butterflies, you're able to get a far better percentage gain for a cheaper price. And for me, with wanting to stack my profits, that is a great strategy to focus on. So how is this possible? We're here to talk about the formula. And this goes back to what Henry told me years ago, right? And I said, I don't know if I can do that. Seems really difficult. He said, no, it's not difficult. You got to pick your stock. You got to find your directional setup. And then really it's just going back to identifying key levels of support and resistance. Who can identify support and resistance? Who? Formula. Yes, absolutely. Yes, Sam. And if you can't, yeah, easy, right? Fib Queen. That's right. And if you can't, we're going to get to that. But it just requires 1, 2, 3, being thoughtful of your time frame and selecting strikes like a pro. So let's get on with this because I want to show you the money. So I've shown you a couple of charts. We talked about a couple of trades, but let's be real. What does everyone care about? We care about making money, right? We're not in this options game to just sit around and, you know, why are we here? We're here because we have goals. We're here because we want to make money. So let's go back to the infamous Amazon trade. And, you know, it's really funny too, because on this particular day, I had gotten called out to do a TV segment, and I had to go back to Henry and say, hey, so I'm actually in the car right now going to a TV show, and I have an Amazon butterfly that's going to pin perfectly. Can you please log into my account because I cannot get into my account, and will you please close it for me? And so, you know, years after he's now encouraged me to do this, I get to this place where I can do it just right. And I feel like that went full circle, right? So within this trade, you ask, what is a pin, right? Well, a pin means that when you have 3 strikes on your butterfly, it goes to your center strike right at expiration and it closes right around that price. That is how you get the maximum profit on a butterfly. So when I say you get a 1 to 4 risk reward, on average, you know, you're hitting doubles, triples, you'll get one that's a quadruple. And if you get it to pin perfectly, which means that the stock closes at that price on the Friday of expiration, that is a pin. And that is how you get the risking 1 to make 12 or risking 1 to make 20, or depending on how wide your butterfly was, but that's how you get it perfectly. So we talked about this trade, but I mean, the key pieces of this were that what it was a combination of the squeeze, high open interest, a psychological value, and perfect timing. But the most important part about this is I could have sold put credit spreads, but why? When I know how to buy something for $1.50 and sell it for multiples. Here's another example of a trade on MDB, which was one of the 300% winners. Well, why did I trade it initially? because it was a Phoenix name. I had a fib set up. There was an earnings report coming up, and I knew that it was a good time to use the stacked profits method. Like any other trade, yes, I could have sold put credit spreads. I would never wanted to have bought long calls because this was through an earnings report, but I was comfortable with buying a butterfly, and that ended up with a 300% gain. Now, people will say, well, all right, what about other setups? You can use fib, you can use the squeeze. What about a hedge? Who wants to know how to hedge in an effective manner? Well, stack profits method can also be used for hedging. For example, right here at this point, I had an entry on a short QQQ fly that enabled me to take profits down at the downside as the market fell throughout May. There's also going to be times where the stack profit method isn't 100% perfect. There's going to be times where you look at an options chain or look at a chart and you say, butterfly is not really the best option here. How else could I double my profits? Well, in this instance with PayPal in particular, this is one of my favorites to trade. However, it's not really a great butterfly candidate because of the way that the premium and the options work out. So in this instance, using a debit spread, you can still get a nice double out of that. You're not going to sneeze over a double, right? But it's not the best place to use a butterfly. So when I go back and I think about why I did this to begin with and why I'm continuing to do it now, is because the possibilities are endless. Number one, the most obvious reason here is because risking one to make 3 or 4, that is some solid cash, okay? And also, you have to think about when you're risking one to make 3 or 4, that means you can be wrong more often. So if you think about it, if you have 5 trades, even if you have 2 that don't work, even if you have 3 that don't work, and your other 2 trades, you make times 3 or times 4, you are absolutely still ahead of the game. So I like that it gives you that flexibility to be able to be wrong a little bit more often. And on the ones that you're right, you're really able to maximize that. The next piece about this is the time frame. So sometimes I'll do these trades that are expiring the next day or in 2 days. Sometimes I'll use it, like for example, with the cyber trade, where it's 3 weeks till expiration. The next piece of that is earnings trades. Some of the trades that I'm going to talk about are earnings trades, but you don't need to use it for earnings, but you can if you want. What about questions related to the Squeeze Pro? I've seen quite a bit of questions about the Squeeze Pro, about the Phoenix. Yes, absolutely. We can combine those two. So what about Netflix? Who likes to trade Netflix? Do you know how expensive the options can be in Netflix? Well, that is one of my favorite reasons to use the stacked profits method. In this example, bought it for $5.90 and sold it for $9.16. Oh yeah, the Netflix earnings report. So that, that's a whole nother situation, because I feel like we can look at Netflix and we can look at Netflix now after it fell on the earnings report and see how we're able to maximize that. But the best part about Netflix is you really are able to trade it up and down, particularly around support and resistance. So Coop, this is another one of my favorite Phoenix names. Just like PayPal, it wasn't a great butterfly candidate, but I was still able to use my setup to stack my profits. PANW, another one right here. Bought it for $4.88, sold it for $8.56. This method makes this quite affordable. Boeing is another one that I particularly like to trade, because you can get quite a bit of a roller coaster as it relates to Boeing, but using this strategy, you're able to trade it if you so choose. Adobe is one of my favorite Phoenix names. And how many of you are in here from my Phoenix finders? Phoenix class, newsletter. Yes, yes, yes. Excellent. Oh, yes. Okay. So, wow, tons of people. Well, I'm so happy to have you here tonight. Me, I love that, Dale. So the Phoenix Finder is my creation that I have come up with. This is one of my favorite tools that I use to compare relative strength within different stocks. And that's one of the methods that I use to stock pick. So for example, Adobe is one of my favorite names within the cloud space, and Adobe has a lot of relative strength. So I use the stacked strategy so that I can maximize my profits on it. So here's one example of an Adobe butterfly, buying it for $4.44, selling it for $9.63. So you may notice that I tend to trade the same tickers over and over again. Here are some of my favorite tickers. What are some of your favorite tickers? What is the measure of relative strength? It's a comparison of the strength of the trend. So it's comparing price in relation to the moving averages, as well as how the moving averages are stacked, and then how price is behaving around those moving averages. Yeah. Yes, Microsoft, that's right. Amazon, PayPal, Salesforce. So there's definitely some benefits with sticking with some familiar names. When you start trading, you start tracking what you're doing, and you realize that you tend to trade the same names in a similar fashion. Amazon has been my most lucrative ticker for the last 4 years in a row. But, you know, for some reason, I don't know, we just mesh. And that is exactly why I'm going to get my Amazon ranch someday. So what about Lululemon? I mean, Lululemon is one of my favorite names. This is a name from my millennial list. So has anybody noticed that millennials don't really like wearing jeans? We like to buy comfy pants that look nice, and they're yoga pants. But guess what? Lululemon, they're a genius. They decided how to make money off of this. And the reason why this is important is because the shares and the profits of Lululemon continue to skyrocket. Not only that, but it has a specific pattern that can be taken advantage of in the options market. And with the stacked method, I'm really able to maximize those gains. So you'll notice in this example, I bought it for $152 and sold it for $517. Here's another example, and I noticed that you are mentioning MDB, Dan. So MDB is one of my favorite Phoenix stocks. This is from my last media round in New York, but you know, we know that MDB is a strong stock. I love buying and holding this name. I like to get it on the dip, but one of the most important things here is how to be able to maximize the moves to the upside in the options market. When you're only risking $1.45 per contract and selling it for $5, that is a stacked profit. So when can you use stacked profits? Well, it can enhance any of these setups. Which one of these setups are you familiar with? 5-star setup, daily squeeze, Fibonacci maybe, symmetry. All of the above, daily squeeze, squeeze, fib cluster, reversion, squeeze. Well, I think the most important point here is that when you're looking at these setups and you're mastering a specific setup, I think one of the best parts about being a trader is that you know, the world is so open to you and there are so many different possibilities. But the best part about being an options trader is you can take these setups and you can maximize them. So mastering the combo, I mean, it's really for traders who want to improve their risk reward. You want to master a complex yet conservative option strategy and stack the probabilities in their favor. So, you know, for me, it's just important to note that it's not a fluke, right? It can be taught. It just takes a checklist and a formula and wanting to improve your risk to reward. The Amazon trade, I mean, this is what shows you what's possible. You start off by trading one of your favorite tickers, one of the tickers that you're familiar with trading. You identify a target, you use timing properly, and you execute the method to perfection. So here's a little bit about my inspiration. I don't know how many of you have heard my stories about my son in the trading room, but he's quite a character, and he's a very active child who loves animals. And this is actually me back when I was little girl. I used to love going out to my grandpa's tiny little lake cabin. I love to fish. I've always been such a tomboy. You would never know it from all the makeup they slather on me before I go on TV. But I love fishing, being outside, and so does my son. And, you know, he's had a lot of behavior problems. And then we started going out to John's ranch, and it was out there that I realized that this kid just needs to be outdoors. He just needs to experience nature. He just needs to make a bonfire and run around with some horses. Well, maybe not run around with them, ride them. And that was when I decided that I'm going to use my stack profits to get my own ranch, just like John did. So what is your inspiration? Why are you doing this? I sound like a Minnesota girl. You know, I'm actually originally from Kansas City, Missouri. Retirement, same reason as you are. Outdoors are great for kids. Do I have an archive of my webinars? Yes, at 5startrader.com. More scuba diving. I'm sorry to hear that, Terry. Sail the world. Be able to trade full time. I get it. I get it. And, you know, it continues to inspire me when I get feedback like this. Over the course of the classes that I've taken and the time that I've spent in the trading room, it makes me so happy when I wake up every day and I get to do this and I get this type of feedback and these type of comments, because what I really want to do is I want to be able to change people's lives the way that John and Henry have changed mine. So as we talk about this and how to stack profits, you know, we've gone over the different classes that I've taught. We've talked about the trend. We've talked about reversals, futures, long calls and puts, and spreads. But you know what? Now it's the point where we got to elevate and show me one and I'll show you four. So I've had success and I've shown you. And now, honestly, it's getting to the point where I want to share it. What do I want to share? I want to talk about stacked butterflies, getting to the next level. And you know what? There's a piece of this too, where I've gotten so many questions about my 5-hour work week formula. Do you remember the amount of times where I've talked about, hey, you know, I had this strategy that I used to use when I just started trading, and I used this specific strategy where I would only trade, I don't know, 2-3 hours a day when I first had Leo and I was trying to make money, and I didn't know how to read a chart or anything like that. But I figured out an option strategy that worked. And that's my 7 stocks to success formula. So not only are we talking about the stacked profits formula, but we're also talking about the actual setup that I used when I first got started. So, you know, I think that it's really important to note that none of this ever would have been possible if I didn't open myself up to the possibility of elevation. I remember back when I had excuses, back when I was scared, but I was willing to keep going. And that's why we've got PayPal, Netflix, PNW, Amazon, MDB, Adobe, Boeing, Lulu, Amazon, And, you know, we have to talk about what it is and what it's not. There's going to be people, like I got some comments on my YouTube, like, oh, that was an accident. Oh, it was just lucky, blah, blah, blah. No. Okay, that's fine. If you want to believe that, that's okay. But you'll never be able to try and reach that point yourself. So my point here is that if you are never going to try, you most definitely will never be able to stack it up. This was me, and this is actually, I think it was 2012. So it was really sad because I missed my dad's birthday so bad. And I remember I was with my class in Costa Rica. These are my students in Costa Rica. And I couldn't come home and see my dad for his birthday. Oh, see, it's right here, 2013, actually. So I had my students line up and write "Happy Birthday, Dad," and send it to him for his birthday card, because mail, wow, that was a whole situation trying to mail internationally. But the moral of this story is that I've always been a teacher. Over the course of the last 7 years, I've gone from here to here, and sometimes I don't even remember what that was like. But the moral of the story is that I am a teacher, and I have always been a teacher. And so for that reason, this time around, I wanted to add a bonus class, and I also wanted to add homework, checklists, scans, and step-by-step instructions, because I want to make sure that anybody who is with me can be able to stack their profits. I remember back in the beginning, I looked at a chart. I had no idea what to do with it. I just followed the trade alerts that the other guys sent out in the room. But things have changed immensely. And at this point, I have a mission, and my mission is to continue helping you, because I remember where I was at, and I know where so many of you are. I mean, so many of you have messaged me and said, hey, you know, I was in your last class, and I was in the Phoenix Finder, and I'm in your newsletter, and you know what you're doing, right? Clearly. But you also want to continue elevating the way that we love to do here at Simpler, because you want to get to that next level. So I introduced to you the stacked profit formula. So for this time, like I said, you know, it's summertime. When they told me, oh, Danielle, you're going to be doing a class in July, I thought, oh my gosh, in the middle of the summer. But you know what? I love the summer. Summer is my favorite time of year. And I thought, you know what I want to do this time is, so many people have been asking me about my formula, the formula that I used when I first started trading, when I only traded 2-3 hours a day. I had Leo right there by my side. I didn't know anything about charts, and I essentially sold premium on 7 specific stocks. And I did the same thing every single week. And that was how I was able to take care of my son. It was back when I was a beginner, back in here, kind of beginner, kind of intermediate. And, you know, now we're over here, of course. But this strategy that I used was what was able to take me from here to here. So for the first time ever, and probably the only time, what I wanted to do this summer was I wanted to make this a 2-in-1 package. And so with my stacked profits formula class, I'm also going to include my 7 stocks to success class. And this is a full class, pre-recorded, so that you can access it whenever you want. You can check out the recording, you can check out the spreadsheet, you can check out the exact rules. It's the exact same length as any other class. And this is the strategy that I used back when this little guy was just a baby. So these were actually my pictures. At one point in time, I was dreaming to be a photographer. And so I started up a photography business, and I thought these pictures were super cute. But that was why I was able to work on my photography business, take care of my son, was because I used this 7 stocks to success method. Now, as I got better over time, I wanted to add more, add direction, add indicator. But this strategy, it was very, very simple. And that was what enabled me to provide for my son. So what I did was, I basically made money based on a calendar, and just rolled in. So this is really funny. I used the calendar, used my setup, and I even used this handwritten trading journal, which my husband finds hilarious because I have 5 or 6 of these back from my 7 stocks to success strategy days. So, I used it for about 3 hours per day. You could honestly do it in even less, but what you really need for it, all you need is a formula, a calendar, a checklist, an eye for a trend, and the spreadsheet. The thing that you don't need are the indicators. So, like I said, I think back to the excuses that I had 7 years ago, 5 years ago, 3 years ago. And I remember saying, oh, I don't have the time for that. I don't have the knowledge. Oh, I don't think I can be that good. Oh, I'm not really sure. I don't have the confidence. There's no way I can do this. I'm a single mom. No, there's no way. But I just pushed through it. Why? Because I don't want to be in my comfort zone. I don't want to be the 98%. I don't want to settle for less. I don't want to live a dull life. I don't want to just get by. I want to go for my dreams. I want to have confidence. I want to be fulfilled. I want to choose happiness, and I want to explore new things. And that is what drives me every single day. And that is how I've gotten to this point where, here's my son, and here's this amazing beach in Puerto Rico that we went to. Here's me after one of my TV segments for Fox when I was in downtown New York. This is me getting my hair done before TV segments. My son, he loves to, we love this resort that we go to in Texas. It has a lazy river that's the shape of Texas. It's pretty cool. And then, just the different vacations and the people that I get to meet. And I love being able to go back and spend time with my family. So, I never would have been able to do any of that if I wouldn't have broken out of my comfort zone and really made a strong go at what was possible. And so I know that you have goals. I know that that's why you're here. And what I'm trying to demonstrate to you tonight, what I want to demonstrate to you tonight is that I know what that's like, and I have been there, and now this is where I'm at, and you can be there too. So next Saturday the 27th, I'm going to be having a stacked profits class where I'm going to teach you my entire methodology. It's going to come with the 1 hour bonus, the kickstart to victory. And if you are a part of either live trading package, then you're also going to get my 7 stocks to success full evergreen class. Now, I'm not really sure why I agreed to that. I thought, I really want to give everyone something really awesome. And so this time I want to add this amazing bonus. Everybody's been asking of me about this, and I know they want to learn it. And so I want to include this in my class. And the more and more I wrote about it, and I made the PowerPoint, and it's an entire second class. So, it's too late to take it back now, but this class really is 2 in 1, and it's probably the only time I'm ever going to do that. So if you are a part of the pro or elite version, which by the way is also going to include live trading, because not only do you need to learn the strategy, but you also have to be there and see how it works out in a live trading market environment. And so the most important part, obviously you need to attend the class and learn how to do the strategy, but it also takes some work in a live market environment. So with the pro package, you're able to get 2 live training days with me and the bonus class. And for elite members who want to get 4 full live trading days, number one, you're going to get my bonus, okay? Huge bonus. And you're going to get 2 days of live trading plus 2 more days of review and psychology and selection. So you can go to www.simplertrading.com/stack for the full page and for all of the information. And it's going to be the first 250 people that sign up for the live trading segments, the pro or the elite, that are going to be able to get this bonus. It's only the first 250. So what's included in the basic? Well, number one, the bonus is a kickstart to victory. It's going to be 1 extra hour Fibonacci, getting your chart set up, making sure you are set up for success. This is going to be my low risk strategy where I'm turning $2 into 5 or 6 like clockwork. The next piece of that is the pro version. This will enable you to take advantage of the popular live trading sessions because it's during market hours and it's everything that you learned in your strategy class, but it's coming together. This version right here, this is exactly how you get the bonus. If you want to get the bonus, you have to be one of the first 250 people to sign up for this package. Oh my gosh, so there's so many questions. That I am just starting out. Does this mesh with a small account? Oh, yes, absolutely. It's great for a small account. It's also great for a larger account. So, I mean, the reason why I started doing this to begin with was because I wanted to be able to maximize a small account. And so, yes, the trades that I showed were, most of the trades that I showed were pretty cheap. They're generally between about $1 and, anywhere up to $10, $11, which of course is options pricing. So $100 to $1,100. And that's how you're really able to grow a smaller account. All right, let me see about the questions. Are the live trading sessions recorded? Yes, they are definitely recorded. You're in elite. Oh, that sounds excellent. Do I send out trades? Yes, I do send out trades. And it's crazy because this was the last one that I did just today, right before the market closed. And I placed a butterfly in Microsoft for Microsoft earnings with a target of 140. And you see where Microsoft is trading at 140.05. So yes, I absolutely send out trade alerts. There will definitely be trade alerts in the class. There will definitely be an explanation as to why you select your strikes in this way. You can't see the P&L right now because the market has moved after hours, and so it's not going to show you right now. But this last trade that was set up perfectly on Microsoft earnings is going to be opening up tomorrow pretty much at the best spot. So we're always sending out trade alerts. Definitely will be doing alerts in the class. Just purchased. Awesome. How long is the class and for how long will you send trade alerts? That is a great question. So the pro version includes 2 days of live trading, July 30th and 31st. And the elite version is going to include 4 days. So it's going to include the 2 previous days from the pro as well as the days from the elite. So what that means is that you're going to be able to go over the trades in the beginning of August And then you're also going to be able to see the results. Now, the best part about this elite package is that the elite package includes the trade review, trading plan, and psychology portion, as well as, like I said, the 4 days. So the best part about this is, you know, when you place any trade, you want to actually place the trade to begin with, and then you want to see how it works out and why. And so within the elite package that also includes the bonus for the first 250, you will be able to review those trades as well. Signed up for elite, you did the pro, awesome. I'll say it like Darrell did, you had me at hello. That's amazing. Is there a discount for gold members? So I believe the current pricing is the early bird pricing, which is the discounted pricing. So right now is at a $100 discount. You can see how currently it's at $397, $597, and $697, which, I mean, this is crazy. I don't know how they got me to agree to this because it's only $100 more for the full elite package. I mean, that's insane. So so yes, it is currently $100 off. And that is, you know, probably for the next few days, I would think. As a grandfather, you're really enjoying getting to know my family. Oh, thank you, Mike. That's really sweet. Will the class teach us how to hedge when things go against us? Yes, we will briefly discuss hedging. So, I mean, the primary focus of the class is learning how to maximize your directional setups with option strategies. But yes, we will discuss hedging. Are they there now? I'm not sure what you mean. You got to go, but you signed up for the pro. Looking forward to the 7 stocks to success. Thank you so much. Awesome. You're in elite? Oh, great, Dick. Looking forward to seeing you there. Is this still going? Yes, the deal is open right now. The early bird pricing is here. The bonus is available. How do you avoid having shares assigned to you? So that is something that we're going to talk about, but primarily that comes with avoiding letting positions expire when they're in the money at expiration. Do you stack butterflies themselves, different strikes to catch a range? That is absolutely what I do. Can I sign up twice? That is amazing. Is there only a class or is there a chat room also? So you can find me in the Simpler Options chat room 5 days per week. But, you know, for right now with this specific methodology, what we always do is we teach the full class, and the class participants have their own private chat room that are able to go into that room, learn the strategy, and then after the fact, we have the live trading. I also, of course, I do appear in the options room, but for those who want the stack profit formula, that is only going to be in the class. So this class has no indicators. What do we use to see market direction? This class does not come with an indicator. What we are doing here is we're taking previous strategies and we're kind of combining them. And so primarily what I'm going to be teaching is going to be identifying directional strategies, and I'm going to be using indicators that are free. And if you have additional paid indicators that are an add-on, that's going to be a big bonus. But this class does not come with a paid indicator, which I don't know. I feel like it's good and bad. I do use the Phoenix. Yeah, you use Phoenix? Perfect. If you use Phoenix, that is ideal. So what options trading is involved in the 7 stocks course? At the moment, I'm not able to do more than buy options. The 7 stocks course is a premium selling strategy. Oh, you bought Elite? Awesome, Buckeye Jim. You signed up for Elite? Awesome, Randy. What dates are live? So if you're not able to sell premium, personally, what I would do, because I remember that happened to me at one point, you can either get a paper trade account and practice through there until you're able to get approved, or you can just try again to get approved with a live account. So for the pro package, the live trading dates are going to be July 30th and July 31st. And then, of course, if you have Elite, you also get the pro package. So for Elite, it's going to be the first 2 days and then also August 13th and August 14th. Has the Phoenix been updated? I don't recall getting any notifications. Yes. So Phoenix Finders, I know you Phoenix Finders are out there. We had an updated Phoenix Finder session about 2 weeks ago where I updated the Phoenix Folio number 3. So you will see that in your Phoenix Folio. You will see that in your Phoenix Folio if you go back to your previous class recording. So make sure that you go into your memberships, into your classes, and look at the class. And if you can't find it, send me an email and I'll send it to you. But absolutely, I appreciate all of you Phoenix Finders so much. We've made an amazing community, and I'm definitely going to keep updating those lists. You bought the pro package. Awesome. When is the strategy class? It's on July 27th, which is going to be next Saturday. You listened to this while driving to the airport, just called in and ordered the Elite class. Awesome. I'm so excited to see you there. Will it be, and you know, that's some dedication. I like that. I love listening to the trading room or classes when I'm driving. I find the app really helpful for that. Is stacked debit spreads also part of this? You know, so I want to mainly focus on butterflies, but like I explained with some of the other, so like there are several trades where you know the stacked method would be amazing, but if there's not enough premium in the options, then you need to stick with a debit spread versus a butterfly. So yes, I will be explaining that and how to do that, because you need, just like you need to know when you can use the stacked method, you need to know when it's not going to work and when you need to do something else. So yes, we will be discussing that. Will it be recorded? I may not be able to attend on the 31st. Yes, we're like the NSA here. Everything that we do is recorded, and the recordings are sent out very quickly after the fact. So let me scroll here. I have tons of questions. I want to make sure that I get to all of them. I have the Squeeze Pro. Will that help to determine the trend correction for this class? Oh, definitely. So everything that I do is based on the Squeeze and based on Fib. If you're not familiar with Fib, do not worry, because we are going to have a Fibonacci component in this as well. But yes, definitely based on the Squeeze, definitely combined with the Squeeze Pro. I mean, the best time that you can really take advantage of directional movements in the market is with the Squeeze. And the thing is you can do that in many ways. You can do it with long call, you can do it with put credit spreads. But if you can figure out how to do it where you're risking 1 to make 4, guess what? You just use the same setup and you made it 4 times better than it was before. So yes, it works with Squeeze Pro. Can PayPal credit be used to buy the class? I believe it can. Where can you find info about the Phoenix Finder indicator? Go to www.simplertrading.com/Phoenix and you will find all the information about the Phoenix Finder and my Phoenix folios. Okay, you're in. Awesome. Is the training class recorded for continual review? Yes, you can review the classes as many times as you want. Whenever you buy a class with us, they are yours to keep and watch it as many times as you like. And it's funny because people always ask me, oh, well, how did you get to this level that you're at? Well, that's what I used to do. I used to take the classes that John, that Henry, that Carolyn would teach, and I would literally print them out, which drove my dad crazy and still drives my husband crazy. It's like, oh, what a waste of paper. Well, I would print those classes out. I'd write notes. I'd go over them multiple times, and I have stacks of notebooks to prove it. So I personally find that that helps. But yes, you can go over it as many times as you want. Leap of faith, I'm in. Let's learn how to do this. Excellent. I don't have any of those extra cost add-ons, and am I going to be at a disadvantage without them? So the squeeze is free. You can use the regular squeeze in Thinkorswim. There are a ton of people that have the new Squeeze Pro, but I honestly only switched over to the Squeeze Pro like a week ago. So you can definitely just use the regular squeeze, and the support and resistance that I'm going to teach is going to be taught. So you don't need a paid indicator for that. You can do this class just with the moving averages, simple fib levels, and the primary squeeze indicator without anything else. If you have the Phoenix Finder, I mean, for me, that's how I find my setups. But, you know, again, I'm going to teach you how to do that. Phoenix Finder, I love it. I use it every day. But you can absolutely do this class without it, because what this class is learning how to maximize what you're already focusing on. And, you know, if like you surely have, what's the setup that you're primarily focused on right now? I guess is what I would ask you. The leap of faith person has the right attitude. What does the Phoenix Finder do or look for, and what does it cost? So anybody who signs up for this class, I'm pretty sure would, you know, get a discount on the Phoenix Finder. What the Phoenix Finder does is, this is it right here. It compares different names, and it's looking at the comparative relative strength and the strength of the trend. And so what you're doing is you're looking to identify strong names and focus on those strong names. So for example, you know, Starbucks is green because green equals cash money. So that means that it's stronger than the rest of these tickers right now. But you also have Adobe, Visa, Costco. So they'll have some weakness, but then they'll gain strength. And that's what we look for to identify pullbacks in the market and what to buy after a pullback in the market. So I don't want to get too much into that, just because it's, you know, I love the Phoenix Finder. Phoenix Finder is my creation. That's what I use to identify stocks. But at the same time, like, if you have the Phoenix Finder, you can use Stack Profits with that. And if you don't, we can also identify trades without it. It is a very, very helpful research tool. You'll call in tomorrow. Awesome. So you got the Phoenix Squeeze Pro and did the fib class. You should crush it. Perfect. Awesome. That's what I want. I want you to crush it. I want you to crush it. I want everybody to crush it. After the training, can I do this in 1-2 hours per day? With the 7 Stocks of Success class, yes, you definitely can. With the Stacked Profits strategy, basically what it's going to be is using the tools. So you're going to use your scan and you're going to use your checklist. And so, yes, you should be able to do that in a pretty limited amount of time. It's going to depend on what type of strategies you want to do. So the way that I'm teaching the class is you have basically 2 different options. There's butterflies. Like, this is a huge wide range. You can do like shorter term butterflies. You can do longer term butterflies. So if your trading plan says, hey, you know, I want to do longer term trades that only require 1 to 2 hours per day, that are nice pullback buys, yes, you can definitely do that in a shorter term time frame. Or if you say, hey, you know, I'm kind of like you and I want to trade Microsoft earnings and it's a 1-day trade, you can do both. So you can do this one or you can do this one. You just need to determine for yourself, like, hey, I'm going to use this strategy and I'm either going to use it on a shorter term time frame or longer term. But you can do it both ways. All right, going through questions. Is the Phoenix Finder identifying stocks based on a specific time frame? Yes. So you can adjust it based on, all right, so on a daily chart, what stocks are the strongest right now on a daily chart? Amazon, Starbucks, Nike, Microsoft, PayPal. The reason why these are the strongest is because these are the names I put together that are actually the strongest. So what I do is I use it on a daily time frame to identify strong stocks. And then when there's a market pullback, which there has been the last 3 days, what I do is I look at which stocks are regaining strength after the pullback the quickest, and then I buy them on the way up. And so you combine that with your butterfly strategy to make your cash money. So you can see Adobe, PayPal, Starbucks, those are the ones that are perking up. So those are the first ones that you get in after a pullback. But still, when you identify them, you have to know how to really maximize it. All right, you're in with the pro. That's great, Bill. I am so looking forward to this. You know, I only get to teach about 3 classes per year, and it takes so much studying and time and effort to come up with this stuff and put it together. And I've been working so hard on it, and I'm just at a point where it's working so well for me, and I just want to share it. So I'm so excited that you're going to be joining me. Oh, you're in for the elite class. Excellent. Oh, that is great news. Will you teach all different types of butterflies, unbalanced butterflies? So right now we're just focusing on regular butterflies, not unbalanced butterflies. Henry has a great class in the store if you want to learn about unbalanced butterflies. You can search for, I don't know what it's called, but just search for Henry. This right here, it's about regular butterflies, and it's about either income-based trades, and you can also use it for kind of the lotto type trades. So there's many different ways you can use it, which is what I was just trying to explain with that last graphic. I don't know if I was that clear, but you can use it for the lotto trade. But you can also use it for the regular income-based trade to take, you know, the squeeze or fib or whatever you're already doing and elevate that to the next level. The lotto-based trades are more of the earnings trade. The ones that are they're lower in probability. They're lower in probability, but they're higher in reward. And then the income-based trades are the ones that are much more probable, but you're looking at like a 1 to 3, 1 to 2 type risk to reward. And these ones are more, hey, you know, I risked 1 and I made 10. So I'm going to teach it where you can do both. But then it's up to you to decide which way you want to use it. And then within the trading room, I do it both ways. I'll do income-based ones and I'll do lotto ones, and I'll tell you, hey, you know, this is a lotto trade. Thank you. It's called the unbalanced butterfly strategy. Yeah, that is, if you want to learn about unbalanced butterflies, I highly recommend you checking that out. That was how I learned that strategy to begin with. Can you put on these trades after trading hours? You work 9 to 5, unfortunately. Do you have any lunch or anything you're able to escape? Hey, I get it. I used to, when I was first learning from John and Henry, I was making $10 an hour working at JCPenney Portraits, and I was working at Zillow as a photographer. And I didn't have like normal hours because I had 2 part-time jobs, but I would literally take my computer with me in my car and use the hotspot on my phone to listen to the trading room. So I get it. Trust me. The best thing that you can do with this type of thing is if you can do your research after hours, and then even if you can kind of sneak away during lunch or something like that, because with a butterfly, you do need to be able to work the orders when the market's open. Will you see us in Austin? Will you see us in Austin this November? All right, looks like Mandy is on that. How big was my account when I first started? So I've typically always traded with between like $10,000 and $20,000, and I have always funneled money out. And so I feel like that's the thing that I'm going to do differently for 2020, because what I have always done is I've always traded it up, taken money out, traded it up, taken money out. And so I don't know, I feel like at this point I'll just let it go and let it see where we can get. But I mean, these type of trades and these type of strategies, you really don't need more than 5K. Like 5 to 10K is better, but you really don't need more than that. You can have more than that, absolutely, and that's even better. But I mean, you saw the examples of most of the trades. They're all pretty cheap, which is why it's so awesome. Yes, but I would say that if you're starting with 5K, I would recommend doing very small position size, like one contract. And the other thing that you can do too is when you're starting with 5K is you can trade with a paper trade account. So when I was new and I was learning, I used Thinkorswim paper trade. And the reason why I did that was because it's basically monopoly money. And when you're learning a new strategy that you're not really familiar with, you're going to have some mistakes. You put something in the wrong way, you have a meeting or something like that. So it helps if you start off with paper trade, and then in the beginning, when you have those mistakes, you can use monopoly money instead of your real money. So I always recommend that to people because I remember what it was like when I was starting out. You had to step out during most of the webinar. Is the recording available? Definitely it is. It will be sent out very shortly after the fact. Hey, got the time difference all messed up. Where can you get the recording? Sorry, I'm just laughing at my husband's comment there. The recording, as soon as I finish, it will be uploaded and emailed out. Yes, to the address that you used to sign up. So have I gotten to all of your questions? It looks like I had a ton of people sign up. I'm so excited to have you join me. Yes, the recording will also be on our YouTube channel. I will also add it to 5-Star Trader. How do we know whether we made the first 250 or not? Did you sign up right now? You can email support@simplertrading.com and ask if you made the first 250. If you sign up tonight, you will very likely make the first 250, maybe. If you want to know if you made the first 250, I would email support@simplertrading.com and say, did I make the first 250? Are you going to send me a link of this introduction webinar? You mean this webinar? Is this strategy good for position traders who do not want to be glued to their computers on a daily basis? Yes, absolutely. So in that instance, what I would do is I would use the larger time frame trades, which is primarily what we're going to focus on the majority of the class. And that's why I love the butterflies, because I mean, I think that my cyber trade was the best example, because I've had a couple of these that were earnings or whatever, but the majority of the trades that I do are like this. They're longer term time frame trades. You're looking for a directional move. And for example, with cyber, this trade, I was in it for 3 weeks. And because it was a butterfly with a perfect strike selection, if I was in long calls in this, there's no way I would have stayed in it for, this thing was squeezing for almost 2 months. And it went up and it went down, but because it was a butterfly, it didn't have too much of a crazy movement like a long call would have. And then when it did fire off, went straight to the target, and you're able to get 275% of your debit. So that's a perfect example of like a longer term time frame trade. You signed up for the Elite. Awesome. Can you go over the first 250 promotion again? Let's see, where was that slide? All right, so 7 stocks to success. What is the 7 stock formula? So back when, I don't know how long you've been with us or how familiar you are with me, but when I first started trading, I worked from home to take care of my son. I was a single mom at the time, and I didn't know anything about technical analysis or chart patterns or anything like that. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to focus on a strategy where I could do the same thing every week. It was something that John said actually one time, was he said, you know, I don't trade on Mondays and I only trade Tuesday through Friday. And so I thought, okay, well, that'll be great for me and Leo. And I learned how to sell put credit spreads. And so what I did was I invented this strategy where I did it on a calendar. And you have to remember, like back at this time, I didn't even know how to do Fib or anything else. All I did was I used the calendar. I got in on Tuesday. I either got out on Friday or the next Tuesday. Didn't even look at my charts on a Monday. Sorry, forget about it. I'm at the park or whatever. Then I got in some more trades the next Tuesday. Got out that, depending on how much the market moved, sometimes it wouldn't move that much by Friday. So if it didn't move too much by Friday, I'd wait till the next Tuesday for that exit. But primarily, you know, if the market was moving, I'd get out within 3 days. So essentially I would get in, get out, get in, get out. And so the way that I did this was I used the same 7 stocks because I didn't know how to use a scan. Nope, sorry. Didn't know how to do that. Watch list, what? No, I didn't do any of that. And it's so funny. My husband can tell you, when he first met me, I didn't really know how to use Thinkorswim very well. But guess what? I did know how to use a spreadsheet, and I did know how to sell put credit spreads. So I created this strategy that was very simple. And I also didn't really want to work very much. You know why? Because I had a newborn and I was by myself. So I came up with a strategy that I could use where I could make, you know, it was good. It was like consistent income on a weekly basis. It wasn't, you know, doubles or triples, but it was consistent. And I used a formula, I used a calendar, I used a checklist, and I used my spreadsheet. And that was what I did for 2-3 years until it got to the point where I said, okay. And you know, it's funny because it goes all the way back to Amazon. And Amazon is, I don't know, it just has some special place for me because back when I was trying to take care of Leo by myself and I was trying to get out of my $10 an hour JCPenney's job, what I did was I used my 7 stocks formula on Amazon over and over and over. 7 stocks. And then after a while, it was kind of like, you know, I think I can make more money. Okay. Then I learned how to make it better and make it better and make it better and make it better. And so I don't know, I guess to me, like it just goes back to that. It just goes back to the whole, I think that my favorite slide out of this whole presentation, not this one. I mean, this one is absolutely one of my favorites, but it goes back to the one at the very, and this one too, because this is, and I was telling my husband this the other day, like, this isn't just a marketing story. Like, this is the actual life that I lived. And when I go back and I think of myself when I first did this 7-stock strategy, I mean, that was what gave me the confidence to do what I'm doing now. And so that's how I'm going to get to where I want to go. But it's a process. So here, let's see where it was. Show me the money. This one right here. So it just goes back to elevating yourself, adding, learning new strategies over time. If you're in the class and if you say like, hey, you know, I have a couple questions here that say, hey, I'm not sure if I know enough about options trading, something like that. So I get it. I remember feeling that way. I mean, so if you take my class and if you honestly say like, hey, I didn't understand this, I don't understand a spread, or, you know, I have 3-4 years worth of content that I have created that can help you understand. So if this class doesn't help you get what I'm going for, absolutely tell me and I will send you anything that I can to help you get to that level, because I know that this is probably the most advanced class that I've taught, but that's because we're up here now. And, you know, I saw a couple people say, oh, well, you know, I'm kind of new. Well, you know what? When I first started listening to John and when I first started listening to Henry, I didn't know anything. I never traded stock in my life. And I was starting to get into this and this. So I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't worry about that too much. I try to add all of the resources that I can to make it as complete as possible. Because like I said, I'm a teacher and I want you to get it. You want to be like all of us at Simpler Trading? Oh, thanks. So if you're one of the first 250 to sign up, you receive my bonus class. That is the 7 Stocks to Success, which is a full evergreen class. And I'm just putting the final touches on it right now, so it will be available early next week. There was a question for Danielle on a trade. She recommended end of day. Was just wondering why not go long if the credit on the short calls were so low. Were you talking about Microsoft? So the trade that I did going right into the close today was an earnings trade on Microsoft. And I mean, I'm not sure if that's what you were referring to, but I never buy long calls right before earnings. I will do a butterfly just because it's, you know, you can get it pretty cheap and you have a really nice risk to reward. So the butterfly that I did on Microsoft was, so if you see where Microsoft was right at the close, it was trading at 136 and I was targeting 140. And like I said in the presentation, you don't need to trade earnings, but you definitely can. And Microsoft, there you go, right at 140. How did the put butterfly on Netflix work out with the drop in price? So Netflix has been the drop in Netflix was pretty severe. This was a much greater than expected move on Netflix. I was targeting a potential drop down to about here to 340. So we're about $15 away from that 340 price point. This move in Netflix, I mean, it's very, very rare that you get a 2 times expected move to the downside. I mean, this is a total hammering. So as of right now, the butterfly on Netflix is not perfect. It's going to need to trade about $10 higher so that will work out for that earnings trade. So, you know, if it would have moved just within the expected move, it would have been perfect. But I mean, and honestly, looking at Netflix, it's for something to move twice the expected move and for them to lose so many subscribers when they were expected to gain a couple million. I mean, that was very significant. So, and that's one thing that I'll say about butterflies and trades and everything else is like the most money that you're going to be able to make on any strategy is not going to be around earnings. It's going to be on a buy the dip situation. Like currently we have a TWLO butterfly on. So I'll do these earnings trades, but at the same time, like the best use of your stack profit strategy is during a regular directional move. You watch Stranger Things. What did you do with the Microsoft trade? What did I do with the Microsoft trade? So I'm going to have to manage it tomorrow because I put it on right before the close today. And I mean, the reason why it's not showing profits right now is because the market's closed. So I'll be managing that tomorrow in the trading room. What type of returns can we expect to make? So with a stack profit strategy, typically when you're risking 1 on a conservative basis, you're making 2 to 3. So on the trades that are the happy ones, the wins, your typical percentage is risking 1 to make 2 or 3. The ones that you can really stretch, you're going to be making 4 up to, depending on the width of your butterfly, like that one that I made 12 on. If you stick with the most conservative method, you're going to be risking 1 to make 2 or 3. If you make yourself a list and you say, okay, well, I don't want to do those lotto trades, Danielle. I don't want to do a Netflix earnings trade. I don't want to do a Microsoft earnings trade. What I want to do is a regular income directional trend follow. Those are going to be the highest probability. Got like a good 70% probability on those. And then if you say, okay, well, I'm only going to do those. I'm not going to do the earnings trades. And here's 10 trades. Okay, and then if you say, okay, let's say you totally bomb 3 of them. And then the rest of these, okay, you risked 1 and you made 2. You risked 1 and you made 3. You risked 1 and you made 2. You risked 1 and you made 5. You risked 1 and you made 3. Like you're still making money. So it all goes down to the setups that you're using initially and you know where you're focusing. But like the idea here is that because you're able to maximize your risk to reward, you can be wrong a little bit more often. And if you stay with the high probability bets, then you know you're definitely ahead and in the green. All right. Well, I think I've answered pretty much all of the questions. I tried to get to everything. If I did not get to your question, you feel free to email me. So it's Danielle at simplertrading.com. And if you have questions about like the class, about your account, about, you know, previous classes you've taken, anything like that, please email support. Okay, support can help you really quickly. Support at simplertrading.com. And if you want to call them, they're here right now. 512, what's the number? 266 8659. So they are here right now waiting for your call if you want to call them. But beyond that, if you have questions about the actual strategy or, you know, what you want to learn, or if this is for you, then ask me. If you have questions about your account and the price and how do I get this and how do I download it, make sure you email support. Thanks, Danielle. Looking forward to next Saturday. Take care. Awesome. Thanks, Sharon. Sharon says, thanks, Danielle. Looking forward to a great profit-making class. Thank you. You're amazing. Thank you, Danielle. You're amazing. You too, Darrell. Thanks for jumping in to help. Of course. Thank you, Dan. We appreciate you. Dale says there's going to be some surprises for Mandy. I would love to hear what those are. Thanks. Great presentation. You're definitely passionate about helping people. I absolutely am. Carlos, you're in Jaco. Vivía en Jaco. Y trabajaba en la escuela Las Nubes. See? Bueno. All right. Ciao. Have a great rest of your evening.